Professional bowling is a global sport, and the international stage where players from different countries compete is the World Bowling Tour. Tonight, the top men's and women's point earners meet here in Texas for the World Bowling Tour Finals. And the top seeds are both from the USA, and both are former WBT champs, Anthony Simonson and Danielle McEwen. Will the Americans prevail once again? That answer straight ahead on FS1. Tonight, the home of Team USA welcomes in a mix of America and Europe's best for the World Bowling Tour Finals presented by the PBA. Welcome to Arlington, Texas. Glad you're with us tonight. Rob Stone, the Hall of Famer, Randy Peterson with you. How about some international March Madness on that other hardwood? Tonight, 6 finalists endured a 12-stop, 6-country tour just to book their ticket here to Texas. Let's start on the men's side, and fan favorite, Stu Williams.
Beat Stu.
Yeah.
And these bowlers, Rob, they travel the world in search for glory, and Stu's not afraid to get on a plane and travel across the pond. But he had a great finish to 2018, finishing first in Tulsa, followed that up with a runner-up finish at the Bear Open. And how fitting is it that a man from England finally makes it and punches his ticket to this event?
Anthony Simonson, the native of Texas, just up the road from Arlington, is your number 1 seed. EJ Tackett in at the 3 spot. Over on the women's side, 2 regulars here and a refreshing new face from Poland.
Daria Pająk. And boy, is she exciting to watch. Probably the highest rev rate on the PWBA tour. I had an opportunity to work an exhibition with her. She's fantastic. And boy, is she exciting to watch. Throws a lot of strikes, has a lot of power. In 2017, she was Rookie of the Year, won her only title, and finished runner-up at the US Open 2. Liz Johnson.
Who she will meet in our opening match. Danielle McEwen is your number 1 seed. And the scoring system for tonight's show, a little bit unique.
It's very unique. So instead of 12 frames, there's only 10, and a strike in a frame earns you 30 pins. A spare is 10 plus whatever pinfall you get on the first ball. An open frame would be the total pins knocked down for that frame.
But they are still hashtag chasing 300.
Yes, sir.
All right, so Liz Johnson will start us off as your 2 seed. Familiar territory for the veteran from just outside Chicago. Sweep it.
She's done that a few times in her
Man,
career.
oh man. By the way, her jersey today, on point. Donuts and coffee? Sign me up. Wonderful talk with Daria Pająk yesterday, 25-year-old from Pila, Poland, small city in the northwestern part of the country. She matches the bet with an opening strike.
And there's that power I alluded to, splitting the rack open on the right lane as we take a look at her style. Says she's been working on her upper body tilt, trying to get that backswing up just a little bit, but what about that snap of the elbow and the wrist at the bottom of the swing? That's what creates all that power. She's got plenty of it.
5-time Polish national champ. Great success here in the United States. Collegiately won 2 NAIA national championships with Weber International down in Lake Wales, Florida. Back-to-back opening jacks.
A really nice start. It's nice to see when the players can get off to a hot start. That means they're comfortable, they're relaxed, and they're able to pry it off early. And let's take a look at how the players will attack the 39-foot sole oil pattern. Daria Pająk with her extremely high rev rate is going to curve it a little bit more. And we already saw Liz Johnson going much straighter. But look for a lot of strikes and big scores on this very gettable sole oil pattern.
Here comes Liz Johnson up for her second bite at the apple, an 11-time Team USA member. And big focus on this event tonight is obviously the international aspect, but also the focus on trying to further bowling into the Olympic stratosphere. 7-pin. How dare you?
Liz using two different bowling balls, and I heard from a reliable source that the left lane actually is hooking quite a bit more than the right lane. Here's a look at our WBT final point list.
Top 3 earned their ticket here to Arlington, Texas. Shannon O'Keefe just missing out in that 5 spot. Liz cleans that one up. Payunk and Johnson battling to take on your #1 seed, Danielle McEwen from Stony Point, New York. And she's standing by with Kimberly Pressler.
Thanks, Rob. So, Danielle, you know, this is the 4th year that you've been in this. You've won it twice, and you're coming in as the #1 seed. All of that is not easy to do. Tell me what it takes to actually get here.
Well, the World Bowling Tour is such a unique thing that allows me to travel the world and do what I love, but it's also a full commitment. Last year I flew almost 160,000 miles in order to compete on this tour and my other tours around the States, so I love it.
Is it worth it?
Absolutely.
All right, good luck today. Thank you, Danielle.
Danielle won in Qatar, in Thailand. Telling us the other day, you got to see countries and cities that I've heard about, but never thought I would experience. Took some day trips around some of her bowling ventures, found her way to Dubai one day. But here's Liz Johnson, the American, with a big challenge here in the 3rd.
Touch it.
Get it! Yeah, Liz! You betcha! There's your hammer tough spare replay, and that was a tough one. My goodness.
Well, just a great conversion, and coming from the GOAT, you kind of expect her to do that.
The GOAT. Love it.
Greatest of all time on the women's side. Wow.
Oh, yeah. Perfection from the Polish international. Again, using the WBT current frame scoring system. Liz Johnson may be the greatest of all time, but another strike there from Daria shows she is far from being intimidated. She's looking awfully comfortable out there tonight.
The revolutions, the rev rate of Daria's bowling ball going down the lane and the subtlety of the motion down lane, and there's a reason for that. I'll explain in a minute.
Right through the nose.
A little inside of target, but again, getting back to the ball motion itself, even with that higher rev rate and her axis rotation, the ball's very subtle off the end of the pattern. The reason why is because the layout of the bowling ball she's using is what we call a 1-inch pin, meaning that the pin is actually 1 inch from her axis point. And what that does is it makes the ball roll really, really early and very little change of direction off the end of the pattern. Look out.
Oh, no.
And if there is a knock on her game, it's sometimes she gets erratic shooting spares.
Open frame first here in this opening match. So she's at a 98. We'll have to sit and stew on that one. Liz Johnson comes up. Liz, strike, spare, spare.
She can close to within 2 with a strike here.
She is a woman of firsts in bowling. Another tough spare pickup waiting her. She became the first woman in PBA history to qualify, Randy, for a PBA Tour event. She did back in 04, the Uniroyal Tire Classic in Ohio. In 04-05 season, made history again, became the first woman to advance to the TV finals of a PBA Tour event. Ended up finishing second to Tommy Jones as we take another look at that shot right there, and then became the first woman to win a PBA Regional Tour event in 05. That was in Rome, New York. She is so respected. Male, female, just bowling. That's what she does. Boy, cleaned up a couple tough spares early on.
And you hear that moaning or grunting when she gets to the foul line, and that's because she's got 2 bad knees. And, you know, we talked to her about it the other night. She said, yeah, I mean, I work out, I try to keep my legs in shape, but I've got an arthritic left knee and a bad right knee. And in a sport where your legs are probably 80% of your entire makeup, that's not a good combination.
Yeah, that knee brace on the left knee gives things away. Aging isn't fun, Randall.
Time is a terrible thing, but it's been pretty good to Liz Johnson.
Man, has it ever. 28 career tour titles, 10 of them majors. She won 2 PWBA tour titles back in 2018. One of the most respected personalities in the sport.
Yeah, without question. Space-time continuum.
Nice name as you take a look at her arsenal. I like the booyah as well.
Take a look at her strike track on the right there, showing her RPMs at 476. Remember, just a few weeks ago, that was the Bill O'Neill range.
So a fantastic start, an opening 3-bagger for the 25-year-older from Poland. Open frame in the 8th, though. Try not to replicate that here in the 5th.
That last shot she threw looked pretty good in terms of location, but it never turned over down lane, and she may want to consider going to a ball that's a little bit more aggressive in the back part of the lane.
One of the best to ever come out of Poland. Again, one of the focuses here this season in the United States, try to get bowling into the Olympics. And if it gets there, you have to feel Daria would be a no-brainer to represent her home country. Here's the shots like that.
Her first 4 shots, her ball speed was 17.7, 17.7, 17.5, 17.5. And that's some serious ball speed control. And that was 10 in the pit.
Hey, Randy.
Hey, Rob.
Got a question for you.
Fire.
You ready?
Yeah.
Take a look at this picture.
Okay.
What do these steel pecs and torqued traps have to do with this match tonight?
I have no idea.
The answer coming up next. Randy, put down the baby oil and quit lathering up your biceps, please. You're embarrassing me.
You're not showing that.
The PBA on Fox is sponsored by Go Bowling. For promotional offers, tips to improve your game, news, or just to locate a bowling center near you, log on to gobowling.com. Our coverage of the World Bowling Tour Finals presented by the PBA rolls on as we take a look at our updated strike track.
We got some big differences here in terms of the 2 players. You look at this number right here, that's just strictly power. But what really tells the tale is the accuracy. And even though Daria's track looks a little bit more narrow, Liz is a little bit wider, she gets away with it because of that lower rev rate.
So Liz up here to close out the 6th. 34 points separating them. Yeah, late fall on the 10. Flashback. 2017 Chameleon Championship. World Series of Bowling.
She said that was one of her biggest wins ever on either tour, beating her good friend Anthony Pepe.
So she's had so many wins. What's on her bucket list to win? This event.
Good shot.
Through 6 frames, Mayo leads by 4 pins.
So 3 in a row for Johnson. We flashed that picture going to break. I'll give you an early hint. It involves Daria. Currently lives in Florida in the Lake Wales area.
Gotta have it.
Get left.
She got it a little bit right.
We talked to her yesterday, and her passion for this sport was clear. And you know who kickstarted that passion? Her dad, Miroslav. Her dad, a retired bodybuilder, worked out in a gym, and a bowling center opened up right next to it. And he said, well, let me take my young daughter bowling while I'm working on my pecs and my traps. So Dad clearly spent time in the gym. I don't think there's any debating that. Do we need visual proof? Looks like a young Randy Peterson right there. So there's
That's pretty impressive.
Miroslav, right? And you know, Dad said, I'm going to take you to the bowling center. You're going to get a ball, and you're going to kind of aim at some targets. And Daria telling us, you know, for me, it was the newest thing ever, all this technology. I could bowl against my dad. And Dad and Mom, Borjana, ended up picking up the sport. This is a picture of the two of them. They bowled on the European Senior Tour.
That's incredible. Beautiful shot.
Yeah, her family makes me happy, and she does too. She has this warmth, this electricity about her, and an absolute passion about bowling. We asked her, you know, what do you like best about the United States? Her response, you know, it wasn't hamburgers or pizza or travel or Disney World or all these silly things. It was bowling. She says bowling is so respected here more than anywhere else in the world. She'll take a seat with a 196. Here comes Liz at 173. There's her arsenal.
Idle Pearl on the right lane, High Road X on the left lane. And through the nose on the right lane.
Rut row. Conversions already. Won't get this one, though, so an open frame in the 8th.
Max score is still 242. Daria Payonk, 256. Remember, 30 pins a frame for a strike.
Using the WBT current frame scoring system.
Yeah.
Something that some folks are utilizing to maybe appease the Olympic base out there, simplify some things, give them another reason to put bowling into the Olympic Games.
Shot. Check out the location here. Just inside second arrow, that would be like the 12th board. So just to the left of the second arrow is where her strike zone seems to be. Still has to let go of it properly. Now Daria can close this out with 2 strikes, 1 in the 9th, 1 in the 10th.
She's had more issues, though, on this right lane than the left.
Yeah, she needs to convert. If she does, she'll have 216 in the 9th. A strike will lock it up. Anything less, Liz Johnson can strike and win match number 1. First things first, got to convert the baby split. Well, that wasn't that far off. Another ½ inch to the right, and she makes it, but now she's in trouble. Max score for her now, 235. Strike here. She will force Liz Johnson to strike.
Right, back and forth, Daria and Liz both affording their opposition some openings to steal the game, to take it and claim it, and they don't. Daria handing it right back now to the vet.
Right lane looks kind of iffy for both players. Both players coming off the splits.
Be interesting to see how the men attack it a little bit later. Simonson, Williams, and EJ attack it. The three finalists on the men's side.
Big shot here for Daria. Rock solid on that lane, Rob. Really nice. And her execution's been brilliant on the left lane.
The sixth overall strike of this match.
Through 9 frames, Johnson leads by 7. Bowling 10 frames.
So 235. She's done. Strike for Liz, and she wins.
Strike for Johnson gives her 242. Anything less, Daria moves on.
Again, this is the one event that's kind of eluded Liz Johnson throughout her illustrious career. A strike to move on to the final.
Inside of target.
Got it!
Pocket. Well, I think that's how you get the moniker, the GOAT, right? Doing stuff like that.
Daria's done, and the GOAT continues to roam the yard. Step up and fire the winner. 242, 235. So our final is set, and it's a good one. Liz Johnson sets to take on your #1 seed, Danielle McEwen. Liz survives, eliminates Daria. She's got the 1 seed next. This match one in the books, a back and forth affair, Randy.
Yeah, it really was, but it was the 2 open frames that really cost Daria, especially the one there in the 9th frame. And Liz Johnson, well, she steps up like the Hall of Famer she is and put 10 back in the pit to move on.
One of her 6 strikes, 242, 235 at your finals. You take a look at your game summary provided by Strike Track.
Well, and again, you know, the one thing that this graphic doesn't show is the relatively easy spare that Daria missed early, the 3-6, and then the baby split miss. But you look at the RPMs in the complete differences of these two players, ball speed, RPMs, and then not to mention angles, which all go together with those numbers.
So Johnson moves on. She'll take on your 1 seed, Danielle McEwen, in today's Ebonite Flashback. Take a look back at McEwen's success at the WBT finals in 2016 in Indianapolis. She stepped up and dropped the legendary Kelly Kulick, 256, 243. It was her first WBT finals title. And then in 2017 in Vegas, Danielle dropped Liz Johnson, 203, 200. Back-to-back titles. Both those events used the WBT current frame scoring system that we are utilizing tonight. Danielle continues to get loose. Liz Johnson waiting in the wings. Will McEwen take home her 3rd WBT trophy? Your women's championship match coming up next. And remember, later the men take to the lanes. Former PBA Player of the Year EJ Tackett will face the Englishman Stu Williams. The winner meets 2017 WBT. Welcome back to the 2019 World Bowling Tour Finals presented by the PBA, coming away from the International Training and Research Center here in Arlington, Texas. Every weekday morning, these two guys go head-to-head on the day's hottest sports topics. Skip Bayless versus Shannon Sharp. Undisputed weekdays from 9:30 a.m. to noon Eastern, only on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. We're using the WBT current frame scoring for all the matches today. It's still a 10-frame match, but there's no carryover between frames like conventional scoring. You get a strike, boom, that's 30 pins. You get a 9 spare, that's 19 pins. No fill shot in the 10th frame. The max score, though, remains 300. Liz Johnson batting leadoff here in our finals. Looks good. It looked good to a 7-10 like that.
I'm sorry. Am I experiencing deja vu?
Are you okay? Are you all right?
Well, because the last time these two faced off, remember what happened, only it was the 10th frame when Liz did this. She needed a mark to beat Danielle. and she went pocket 7-10 to lose.
Get one.
There's the Globetrotter.
Well, she was all over the place, huh? To get the #1 seed here.
You know what I really love about Danielle, though, is she's so appreciative of having the opportunity to do that.
Just 27 years old. Nice follow through. Come on, 10.
A very nice opening shot as we take a look at her RPMs. Her rev rate, 284. Ball speed about 17.5. Just beautiful lines right there. Shoulder high backswing, and then, you know, being a gym rat that she is, she's able to utilize her lower half to create great position at the bottom of the swing.
It's funny you mentioned that gym rat thing. We asked her the other day, you know, what are you doing to try to increase bowling's exposure and push to get into the Olympics? She picks up that spare. She said, I tried to promote bowling in an athletic way, which it is. And a lot of people are old school and certainly don't appreciate it. But she says, I go to Instagram, you know, at DMAC9191, and I send out pictures of me in the gym and working out and showing, hey, folks, this is not the old school bowling that you guys think of and conjure up when you discuss this sport. This is an athletic endeavor that requires a high level of skill and endurance.
She's a great ambassador, no doubt about it.
Come on, Messenger. And we asked her about bowling in the Olympics. I said, what's your stance on it? Does it belong? And it was just a one-word answer, and it was quick. Yes. So many different variables in our sport. And again, the point is, the reason that we're not is folks just don't realize how difficult and demanding it is.
Well, I think one of the advantages for Danielle is that she keeps herself in such great physical shape. It helps her mental game out tremendously.
Back-to-back 9 spares for Danielle. Liz Johnson in those 28 career pro titles, including 10 majors. Here she is in the second. In the pocket, but leaves the 10 pin. Slow start for Johnson so far. Gets her first mark. When we go downstairs, Kimberly standing by with your 3 seed, Daria Payunk, who was just eliminated.
I sure am. So, Daria, I know you took this a little hard, but that open frame in the 9th, it cost you the match, really did. And on the strike tracker, it showed that you went a little bit high on it. How did it feel coming off your hand?
The last strike felt very good. I was trying to slow a little bit down, and I wanted to make sure I get in the pocket. The pair was getting very tight, so I wanted rather to go high than to leave it open again. And I was very proud of the last shot. However, the 9th frame and definitely the open frame in the 4th was something that cost me the match.
Well, you should be very proud because you made it this far, and I have no doubt that we're going to see you on many more shows. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Well, let's hope we see more of Daria on the show. Her smile lights up a bowling center. She's a delight to watch. And by the way, you did some research. You found out what her last name means in Polish. This is good.
Yeah, her last name, Payunk, actually means spider.
Jumps on the rack like a spider monkey.
Liz Johnson trips the 4-pin. Danielle McEwen does not.
Yeah, nobody wants to take hold of this final.
Well, I think the lanes are going through a little bit of transition right now, and that's what the women are battling. Just
one strike in our 3 frames so far. And that was Liz in the third. Nine spare for McEwen.
And a one-pin match.
Danielle here in her 4th straight finals. Won 2 of the last 3. She has owned this. On the flip side, Liz Johnson, pretty much the one thing she hasn't won in her career. Look at Danielle's 3-ball arsenal. Open frame 4th. Perhaps an opening
complete frames, Johnson leads
for Liz Johnson.
bowling 4th frame.
Pair of strikes tonight.
Well, Liz Johnson has definitely moved in. She started around 9 at the arrows out to about 6, and right now she's playing just left of second arrow. In case you're wondering who the defending champs are of this event, Jason Belmonte beat Marshall Kent in a one-shot roll-off, and Diana Zavyavala beat Danielle McEwen. High game in this event back in 2016. Dom Barrett, 300.
Ooh. Now she's starting to get dialed in, huh?
Hey, here she comes.
Yeah, that's a little quiet, confident strut back to the chair. Yeah, sit down with that 3-bagger after that rough start open frame in the first. Speaking of open frames, that's what Danielle did in the 4th. Here she is to close out the 5th.
Yeah, nice shot. And you can see Danielle a little bit farther left, higher rev rate, a little slower ball speed. And so she's able to open up this pattern, obviously more than Liz Johnson. Liz Johnson's strength is bringing the high hard one, and we saw that on her last shot in match number 1, where she needed a strike to beat Daria Payunk. She moved to board left. She came by and told us, hey, I moved to board left in the 10th, and I fired it right at the 1-3.
Danielle working off her first strike here at the championship match. Let's make it a double.
Nice.
Our 3 men's finalists are coming up, but first up, we conclude McEwen and Johnson in the World Bowling Tour Finals. Both of them starting to get dialed in. Scoring system, and what have you seen from Danielle's game here, Randy?
Well, she's playing farther left than Liz Johnson, and here's a pretty good indicator on how each of the 2 women are playing this oil pattern. Here's Liz Johnson, 11 to 10. That's about as straight as you can go, Rob. That's a 1-board belly. Danielle McEwen, 15 to 8.
Liz, watch that. You saw her head peeking up. She was looking at the in-house monitors. She took in that intel. You could tell by her facial expression, it registered differently than maybe what she was expecting to hear, either by her or from what Danielle's been doing.
Liz Johnson is doing exactly what Liz Johnson likes to do, and that's go up the grain of the wood. That was yanked.
Got away with it.
That was 12 board at the arrow, so that was a good board or 2 inside a target on the right lane, but that right lane is tighter down lane, and she was able to hold it off into the pocket. Hey, Rob, how many in a row does Liz Johnson have now?
According to my math, Randall, that would be 4. The kids out there have a term for it. I lose track of what it is sometimes.
trying to set you up.
Here's Liz to start up the 7th. I can't just be passing around the dimes and the diamonds.
I got you.
I got to hold on to them once in a while. A wise man said that to me once.
I understand. You got to hold on to some of the diamonds. I got you. 11-4 last time. A big time left. Yeah. Left and left. You can see trajectory was left. Target at the arrows was left. And that ball crosses over. Danielle McEwen right back in this, Rob.
Absolutely. And Danielle seems to have found her form. Strikes in the 5th and the 6th. Her 7th coming up in a moment. Liz tries to take care of the 6.
And looking back at game 1 against Daria Payonk, remember we talked about Daria's open frames. But remember, Liz Johnson converted the 2-4-10. Without that conversion, she doesn't make it to the title match against Danielle McEwen. Liz Johnson, an incredible spare shooter, along with the ability to string strikes. Danielle McEwen looking to do the same, working on a double.
Double to a triple. Momentum starting to swing into the McEwen camp.
And for those of you that don't know how to keep score at home, that 3 in a row, that's called the turkey.
The turkey?
Yeah. Somebody asked me the other day, how did they arrive at the name turkey for 3 in a row? And I looked at them and I said, I have no idea.
I actually know that story. Back in the old days, if you threw a 3 in a row during the holiday period at your local bowling center,
that's right,
they would give you a free turkey to take home for the holidays. You know what they give you for 4 in a row, Randy? They give you a ham bone! That's when you drop the dime. That's when you drop the diamond. Don't force the ham bone on me, Randall.
It's all about timing, and this is perfect timing for Danielle.
So Danielle taking the seat now with a 186. What do you got, Liz? Strikes 3 through 6, and then the 9 spare in the 7th.
Another 9 spare. We have a tie through 8. Better shot. And the soft 10.
Spare conversion, and we're tied.
Is there an echo in here?
There is a breeze. Could be back-to-back 9 spares for Liz Johnson. Her spare shot is crazy, isn't it?
Well, again, she has the issue with her left knee, and generally speaking, shooting at a spare, you tend to throw the ball a little bit harder. And for Liz, all she's trying to do is direct it on line.
Which she did, again, in the men's tour finals coming up next. Tackett versus Williams in your first match. Anthony Simonson. He's got a good crowd here to cheer him on. He's waiting the winner. EJ Tackett still to come. He and Liz teamed up last year to win a doubles event. We're tied at 186. This is a 2-frame game.
Hook a lot.
Got it into the switch zone, and the pins cooperated that time with Liz Johnson. Now to stay even, Danielle McEwen must strike in the 9th.
Hook a lot.
It's nice when the ball heeds your advice.
Right? Sometimes it listens.
Oh,
Oh, look out.
How about a Brooklyn? Well.
Well, trouble now. Liz Johnson can strike in the 10th frame and lock this up. However,
Again, this is not your normal 10th frame.
1 ball. However, Danielle McEwen it's not over yet. A spare here, she'll have 205 and be trailing by 11. Spare and then a strike in the 10th forces Liz Johnson to strike.
Takes care of the spare. have the big one here in the 10th.
We do also have a possibility of a tie. A strike from Danielle McEwen here. It's 235. 9 spare for Liz Johnson. 235.
And we've seen 3 9 spares from Liz Johnson in this match alone. Through the nose. It's not one yet for Liz, but it's awfully close. Danielle covers that one, which means Liz up next for that elusive title here at the World Bowling Tour Finals. Randy, all she needs?
8. Again, I'm seeing this as being a little reminiscent of match number 1, where it's the heater, Ricky.
That's why you're a legend.
Finally, the GOAT captures the one elusive event.
High score of the evening, the 246 claims the title. Get it, Liz, you deserved it.
Storm Products, thanks Turbo Grips. You can bowl 2 Pro Shop. Tasha, I love you. Thank you, guys.
After 3 second place finishes and 2/3, Liz Johnson, finally a WBT champion.
Left that soft hand early. Danielle McEwen fell behind, but rallied. And then when she needed a big shot, well, disappointed with that one. Liz Johnson just needs good count. And last time I checked, a strike is pretty good count.
Yeah, it's really, really good count.
Thanks Storm Products, thanks Turbo Grips.
That's the one trophy that's been eluding her through her Hall of Fame career. As we take a look at our game summary, courtesy of Strike Track.
Again, the numbers that really stick out to me is rev rate. And Liz Johnson, lower rev rate, but what she's so good at and what she's been so good at throughout the duration of her career is keeping the ball on line and playing to her strengths.
Here's Kimberly with Liz.
Thanks, guys. So, Liz, when we talked earlier, you said that you were feeling a little bit nervous because you wanted this so bad. You said to us yesterday that this was on your bucket list. It didn't look like your nerves were affecting you, were they?
I was pretty nervous in between matches. I knew Danielle was going to throw a lot of strikes, and I just had to stay focused. And actually, for me, when I get a little nervous like that, it actually gets me to focus a little harder and a little better. And I knew going at the end of the first match, I made a good adjustment and just had to stay aggressive and make the shots.
And you definitely did that. But now that this is crossed off your bucket list, what's next?
Hopefully keep winning and make more shows and more titles.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and congratulations on your win.
Great to see Liz finally with that WBT hardware. She shows it off. No doubt she's going to try to be back and defend in next year's finals as we look ahead to some of the events in 2019 on the World Bowling Tour. World Series of Bowling coming from just outside Detroit. We'll be in Vegas for the USBC Masters. Houston, Texas in late July, the Lucky Larson Masters from Sweden, and then the U.S. Open from North Carolina in late October. Coming up next, the men take to the lanes. E.J. Tackett's epic November got him here to these WBT finals. He's going to take on Big Stu Williams in the semis.
Attention Medicare beneficiaries. The Center for Medicare Services has officially authorized new benefits Medicare Advantage plans may include. Plans may now include private home aids and rides to medical appointments. Most plans also include dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drug coverage. To get the benefits you deserve, call the Medicare Coverage Helpline now.
Hi, I'm Joe Namath. I called the Medicare coverage helpline, and they instantly advised me that I wasn't getting all the benefits I deserved. They explained I could get a plan that includes dental and prescription coverage, as well as the new coverage for private home aides and rides to medical appointments. If you want to find out what you deserve, call the number on your screen now. It's free. You'll be happy you...
Arlington, Texas. Rob, Randy, Kimberly back here with you. Liz Johnson just won the women's side. Up now, your 3 men's finalists. Take a look at our bracket. EJ Tackett will go first, taking on Stuart Williams. Anthony Simonson waiting in the wings for the survivor. Let's go! Reminder, we're using the WBT current frame scoring system, Randy.
A strike is worth 30. 10 frames, not 12. Single shot, or excuse me, a single frame in the 10th frame. Spares are 10 plus the first shot pinfall. And an open frame will be all the pins you knock down in that frame.
There's some speed on that spare conversion from Tackett, the native of Bluffton, Indiana. First time on this show.
Good seeing this man bowling well again. And
isn't it?
Yeah, and the way he closed out 2018 was, well, that's the reason why he's here now. Elmsmere, Port England.
Do you think the crowd knows his first name? We'll find out in a second.
There's going to be a change of plans.
Well, it's a good time to figure it out, right?
Well,
shot number 1.
I watched him in practice, and he never missed. You take a look at Stu Williams from profile. Not a bad break, just leaving the 610 on that hit. And changing to a plastic spare ball.
Covers that one up.
It looks like he's going to go for, I thought he was going to go for a different piece of equipment. Instead, it's that part steering.
So both on 18 after the first frame.
And now it looks like he's going to urethane.
So let's see how this ball change works out for Big Stu.
Well, this will be much straighter, I promise you that. It's too weak down lane.
Good at 8.
Good at 8. That's something I should say, not you, Stu.
Just a little soft down lane.
So you think another ball change might be in order?
Yeah.
Might go back to the original?
Something in between the two.
Spare ball out now. Stu goes to 36 after 2 using the current frame scoring system. 26-year-old EJ Tackett, 6th year on the tour. Already in double digits for tour titles. Well on his way to a Hall of Fame type career.
Oh, no.
Yeah, oh yes, Randy.
That was almost a dreaded 3-4 split and tripping the 3 forward. Huge break. Watch this. There was a lot of pins standing at one time, and now just the 4 pin.
8.5.
Was that the 10 that muscled it down?
I
Kind of tackled it at its ankles.
I can't remember. There was so much action going on.
And Tackett, part of history, one of only a handful who've won Player of the Year and Rookie of the Year. Just a couple of years ago, he was your PBA Player of the Year. 3-time member now of Team USA, 2011, 2018, and just named to the 2019 roster. He's a two-time member of the Junior Team USA. If you walk around the halls here in Arlington at the International Training and Research Center, you're going to see some wonderful old-school pictures of E.J. Tackett on the walls. Spare, strike.
You know, to draw a comparison between Liz Johnson and E.J. Tackett, Liz was playing the lanes at about 12 at the arrows, out to about 8, at about 18.5 miles an hour with a 340 RPM rev rate as we take a look at the final points. And this is how our players got here. Just edging out Andrew Anderson was E.J. Tackett. E.J. Tackett, 19 at the arrows, 6 at the break point, 19 miles an hour with a rev rate of 530. Oof. Yeah, Stewie, not liking that urethane look.
I mean, it's 8.
It really isn't.
8.
Yeah. I think he has to get in where E.J. Tackett is and open the lane up.
Slams those two into the pit. Kimberly standing by with our #1 seed, Anthony Simonson.
Thanks, Rob. So, Anthony, I saw you watching the match a little bit. When you watch something like this, what is it you're exactly looking for, and can you take anything away from it?
You know, just trying to see which lane is playing a little more difficult, where the guys are playing, and help me get an understanding for my couple shots that I get on the lane and get ready to get the match started on a good start.
And what are you noticing today?
Looks like this right lane is playing a little difficult, so more than likely I'm going to finish on the left lane.
All right. Thanks so much for your time.
It's got to be close.
There you go.
That's better.
Staying with urethane. And to give you an idea of how much different the reactive resin bowling balls are compared to urethane, when Stu threw his first shot of the match, he used reactive resin. When he threw the urethane ball, it was 13 boards difference. 13 boards farther right with urethane.
Significant.
Golden Jackal for E.J. Tackett.
Came back nicely for Tackett as he strikes here in the fourth. I want to take one more look at the WBT final points from 2018, and you see Tackett just barely snuck in there at the #3 spot, had 21 more than Andrew Anderson. Remember, EJ had to go to the Men's World Cup, the World Championship in Hong Kong, had to win the all events title to get here. That was in the end of November, goes to Hong Kong, does what he had to do, and here he is in Arlington, continuing and looking for another title.
Turkey! 550 RPMs and almost 20 miles an hour, and that's approaching the two-handed style of Jason Belmonte and Jesper Svensson in terms of raw power. And just to think, it comes from a guy who probably weighs about $130 soaking wet.
$130, really?
Maybe.
I give him a few more lbs than that.
Really?
Yeah.
Chance.
I love the commentary from Stu.
Isn't it nice? It's nice just to be quiet and listen to him.
Chance.
It's got a chance.
Chance. It's got a chance. And a double for Stu Williams.
So it was 8 spare, 8 spare, 8 spare in his first 3 frames. Figured things out. Strikes in the 4th and the 5th as you look at his 3-ball arsenal today.
Fever pitch going with urethane. And I like the fact that he stayed committed, even though he didn't make the best of shots when he went to the urethane ball. But I think he feels he's pot committed now.
In it to win it. We begin the 6th. Down 13.
Chance.
Rob?
Chance.
Attaboy.
Just chance. chances are when we return, we're going to wrap up this match, and we're going to try our best, Randy, to detail Stu's follow-through. Can I call it a follow-through?
You can.
For sinus relief that's all natural and drug-free, experience Navage. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril, through the nose, and out the other. Navage relieves congestion naturally by flushing out allergens, mucus, dust, and germs. Breathe better with Navage. It's nature's decongestant, all natural, drug-free.
I love that clean-nose feeling.
At CVS and Walgreens, or for a 90-day zero-risk trial, buy direct at Navage.com.
All right, here's your Columbia 300 fun fact tonight. This the 8th year of the WBT Finals, and over that span, 23 different players, Randy, representing 9 different countries have qualified for the TV finals of this event. Of course, we had a young Polish lady earlier today. We've got Stu from England in this match right now.
Type match through 5.5 frames. EJ Tackett working on a 3-bagger, as well as Stu Williams. See that motion there where that elbow kind of flies out to the right just a bit? That's when the player usually turns it a bit early. EJ Tackett a little bit inside of target on that shot and didn't really have that same shape. A little more up the lane.
We mentioned Tackett was your 2016 PBA Player of the Year. After that, 2 straight years of coming in 2nd place in voting for that.
Yeah. 11-time winner over the last 3 seasons. He's put together quite a resume at such a young age.
Yeah, a fast resume.
Boy, oh boy, I'll tell you.
I mean, this is walking into Kinko's and banging out a resume that gets you up onto the executive floor like that.
Ideal line, 19-4.
Nice. Boy, did that look nice, huh?
19-4.5. That time it was 20-7. And that's probably because he migrated a little bit left, anticipating transition.
Speaking of transition, during the break, you were noticing Anthony Simonson, the #1 seed, bowling, getting loose on some side lanes, and expect perhaps the unexpected from Mr. Simonson. That's a nice tease for you. We'll get to that a little bit later. Again, the winner of this one to take on Simonson. Stu, 3 straight strikes, sitting at 144. Give that man a ham bone!
Let's take a look at Stu Williams' game with the track technique. It's all about his follow-through. Great positions at the foul line. I love what he does with his upper body. You see how he's kind of bent over, he's leaning, but he maintains that position. But the unique part about Stu Williams is this right here. This follow-through, or lack thereof. Asked Stu about that, and he said, well, I kind of learned that playing lawn bowling in England.
Transfer that technique to bowling, hence the lack of the follow-through, lawn bowling, like bocce, if you will.
Yeah. The other thing that Stu does is he creates great ball roll. He's got great hand at the bottom and plenty of rev rate.
1-pin game. 3 frames to go.
Hey! Come on! You see his location at the arrows right here. He's been pretty good pretty much all day, or excuse me, throughout this entire game with his location once he switched to that bowling ball in the 2nd frame.
Yeah, massive struggles for Stu in the opening 3 frames, all of them 8 spares. Since then, 5 straight strikes. So the pressure now swings over to EJ Tackett. Tackett with 4 strikes in his last 5 frames. Here he is to close out the 8th.
Oh, no.
Messenger, little tap.
Awful break. Awful, awful break. Wow. Jumped right over the 7, and then the messenger misses it. Or the roller I should say, misses the 7-pin. .194 in the 8th. Max score for E.J. Tackett, 254. Max score, Stu Williams, 264.
Again, using the WBT current frame scoring system. 30 points for a strike in a frame.
Back on the strike train.
Well, that was just filthy. And we've seen some messengers.
That was an airmail messenger.
That looked like it was shot out of a cannon. Watch this action.
It's like somebody threw it from the crowd.
Yeah.
So EJ sits down. .224.
Oh, yes, come on! Come on!
as he looks over at the booth, that went from 8-10 to kicking the 10 out to almost striking. Look at this.
I mean, are you kidding me?
The only problem now is
Well, right, I've been proud of that one.
Could cost him the match. With a spare, he'll have 223, max score 243. Tackett can strike to win by 1.
You're good at math.
Well, that math was wrong. I'm sorry, Stu's math was wrong. So strike for Stu Williams in the 10th frame, it's 253. Tackett, max score 254.
Again, max per frame here in this scoring system is 30.
You gonna take a rewrite? It's hard to not take a re-rack after the 8-10.
Make sure to join us for our next PBA telecast when the World Series of Bowling kicks off Monday, March 18th. You ready for this, man?
I am.
We got some heavy lifting to do.
Live Monday the 18th from Allen Park, just outside of Detroit. It's the PBA Cheetah Championship at 8 Eastern. Live coverage of the World Series of Bowling continues all week long here on FS1, also streaming on the Fox Sports app.
Come on. One time.
One pin game, Stu gets 9 in the 10th.
Should have just thrown it harder. Should have thrown it harder.
I think what he tried to do here was give this just a touch of room, and if he had to do it all over again, I think Stu would have stayed where he was and amped up the speed. .242 for Stu Williams.
Yeah, quick whip away there as well. Not pleased with how that one went down. So 242, Stu sits and Stu watches.
E.J. Tackett, 9 spare or strike, he advances. Well, you know, I got to be honest, that solid 7 that he left in frame number 8 was ridiculous in terms of bad breaks. So he just tripped the 9 out there, only leaving the 4, and I think he kind of deserves that. A spare here, he wins.
To the final goes EJ.
Good match. Thank you.
One-pin affair here in Arlington, and the American E.J. Tackett through 243, 242. Just needed to clean up that, and he did, and Stu, nothing he could do about it.
Time now to go bowling with our Randy Peterson. Today, Randy continues his lifelong search of just trying to catch a break.
What's the break point and how do you find it? Well, let's see. Towards the end of my career, I had no clue. But in all seriousness, the break point is when the ball starts to come off the end of the pattern and you start to see motion. And how do you find it? Well, there's a lot of determining factors, like how fast do you throw it? What's your rev rate like? What piece of equipment are you using? What's your rotation like? How's that ball rotating? What I used to do was I would try to find the farthest point to the right that I could get the ball back to the pocket, and then the farthest point left where it would still hold line and hit the pocket, and then I would kind of park myself right in the middle of the two. That gave me the biggest margin for error to hit the pocket more consistently.
All right, back here on the floor, E.J. Tackett, Anthony Simonson set to come up in our championship match. Just about 10 yards in front of us, Anthony Simonson has been warming up for a while now. You notice something out of the corner of your eye, and it looks like we are in for a first.
Yeah, I think we're going to see something for the very first time out here. And funny because Johnny Petraglia told me a couple of years ago that this was going to happen, that we would see a two-hander, no-thumb two-hander, throw a backup ball on television. And we're going to see that with Anthony Simonson.
And a backup ball is this.
Starts on the left, basically like throwing it like a left-hander. It's got the rotation that a left-hander would put on it, and he's going to play the left side of the lane because he feels he's got a better shot to the pocket.
Instead of entering the right side of the pocket.
Correct.
Let's mix it up and come in through the left. Should make for a fascinating final. The men's championship match coming your way next. Two Americans discussing it. Yeah, there's a lot of strategy in play for this one. E.J. Tackett, Anthony Simonson, that one coming up next. Welcome back to the PBA on FS1. E.J. Tackett on the right, Anthony Simonson on the left, the number 1 and the number 3 seed meeting here for the title at the World Bowling Tour Finals presented by the PBA. E.J. Tackett from Bluffton, Indiana, the 26-year-old who's already on the way to a Hall of Fame type career. He'll step up first.
And a ball change to start for EJ, but yeah, he's already Hall of Fame eligible at age 26. You know, we talk about it all the time. I'm not sure how many times in my 19th year behind the mic for the PBA Tour that I've been able to say that.
And here we are at the Hall of Fame in Arlington, Texas. So much history and knowledge throughout this building. Tackett bowling now, and odds are he will be here for a long time to come.
Oh, yeah. Avoiding any injuries, E.J. Tackett's going to be here a while. Now, folks, you're in for a treat. Throwing urethane, the right-handed two-hander, Anthony Simonson, is going to do something we've never seen before on national television. He's going to throw a backup ball up the left side of the lane.
Look at the curl home. 10 stands.
That's just dirty. We saw something like this from Tackett in game 1 where the head pin jumped over the 7. This time, just the opposite. The head pin goes skyward over the 10. Look at that.
Any reason to reevaluate his approach at this point?
No, he's committed. He's going to stay with it, yeah.
And it's a winner. Not much real estate left on that spare pickup, but he gets it. So back-to-back 9 spares give Anthony Simonson 38 after 2. Again, using the WBT current frame scoring system. Max in each frame is 30. Tackett.
Yeah, he didn't like it immediately.
Come on, man. What are you doing? God. What's that? It's awful.
Oh, nice spare pickup there. Three-time member now of Team USA is Tackett, hoping that bowling will someday be accepted into the Olympic Games. We were talking to him, Randy, about that subject. He said, you know, I kind of scratch my head and say, how did that sport get into the Olympics and we can't? You know, golf is in, so many other sports have been added, but bowling just can't get that break. Hopefully that's going to change in the future. The bowling community certainly trying to make that happen. First strike.
Chip 4-9. Nice little break here for E.J. Tackett. One pin takes out two.
Third frame.
So 66 for E.J.
Got to get a strike track number on Simonson's RPMs. Throwing it
righty, but it's being read as a lefty.
Correct. Is that not ridiculous or what? I mean, it's crazy. 450 RPM off his hand, throwing a backup ball. Just incredible. And his location at the arrows have been within 3 points of one another. 12.5, 12.8. Just ridiculous.
Back to the 2017 WBT final. It was a teenager, Anthony Simonson, winning the title. Beard is filled out a little bit.
And he's so much more mature now at age 22.
Hey, come on, ball, come on.
What do you think, Rob? You ever seen anything like it?
I love it.
Because I haven't.
It's cracking me up. And I'm feeding off your energy because I heard your excitement when you and I were talking off camera. Where you're kind of nudging me and saying, look over there. Look, Anthony's, see what he's doing? And I can't see right now. I'm kind of focused on this broadcast, but I could hear the giddiness and the excitement.
And he's throwing a urethane ball.
Right? I mean, it's a trip. Tackett responds with the strike of his own, so it remains a two-pin affair.
You know, there's so many purists out there that don't like the two-handed style to begin with, and now you throw this into the mix, a two-hander throwing a backup ball. So now he's got not only the two-handed action, but he can throw it from both sides of the lane.
This two-handed style, it's kind of making some players almost extinct. You know,
yeah.
They will tell you, I can't compete. You know, if there's one bit of an injury, one nag on the hip or knee or elbow or wrist or something, and they say, I can't get these rev rates. Oh, this is a tough one to compete with these guys. Tackett's got some work to do here in the fifth.
Man, I thought that was dead.
2-4-10.
Looking at strike track, the location was pretty good. The break point was pretty good. All the numbers look right.
I think that's what he's saying to himself.
And that's him saying, what? Are you kidding me?
This is the 2 and the 10. Remember that one. Remember that one in the fifth.
Oh. And again, strike track brought to us, or brought to you by our friends at Kegel. And the great folks there, the great bowling minds down there in Lake Wales.
That's a wonderful facility. Yeah. Great intel that it hands off to us as we look at Anthony's arsenal.
And there it is, the fever pitch, that the urethane ball that you can see just how weak that ball is. Ooh. Damn it. This is going to be interesting now, Bucket. And here's the thing. He can curve it from the right or left side when he's shooting a spare.
Just incredible. This is a tough one. The last thing you want to do after your opponent gives you an opening is give it right back.
Takes his plastic ball out and throws it straight at the cluster to maintain a 10-pin lead.
Youngest player to ever win a major in PBA history, doing it as a teenager. I shudder to think what I was doing at 19 years and 39 days. Probably a poor decision or 12 was being made by me. And this guy's winning majors. You know, watch out for this guy down the road. We're talking about E.J. Tackett as a no-brainer, essentially Hall of Famer. Simonson is on the road to get to the Hall of Fame as well. He's not going to like this one, though, in the 6th.
Not sure how to analyze that last shot. If it was maybe a case of him trying to get a little more on it, I'm not sure if that's possible with the backup ball technique. I'm guessing it is, but that ball hooks up high and goes through the nose, and he pays for it. 4-6-10.
Tackett with an open frame in the 5th. Simonson hands it back to him in the 6th. Well, you get the sense both these guys are going to sit through this commercial break, ponder, wonder, and try to sort out their path to the men's championship trophy. The conclusion when we return here on FS1. And as the World Bowling Tour Finals presented by the PBA continues, the most fearless voice in sports is on FS1. Our good friend Colin Coward, unique, outspoken. You can see him on the herd weekdays on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. Take a look at our strike track comparison, Randall.
Well, normally if Anthony Simonson would be bowling the way he normally does, you would see him and E.J. Tackett right on top of one another. But Anthony Simonson going with the backup ball, and that's why he is over here on this side of the lane. E.J. Tackett on that side. And, you know, the numbers, well, the numbers are fairly close in terms of ball speed. Rev rate's not all that much different.
19-pin affair. Tack it down again using the WBT current frame scoring system. A strike here would give him 30, and that's what he's got, and he's got the lead back.
E.J. Tackett made a ball change for this title match, and he's got to be a little careful because it's a little bit softer in terms of reaction down lane. So if he gets a little too firm, you're going to see that 2-4-8-10 combination again.
Just his 3rd strike here in the championship match. 3rd, 4th, and now the 6th frame. Looks for his 2nd double as we open the 7th.
Yeah! Well, he got all of that one. And then some.
We have a lead change. It's Tackett by 11.
Trip 9 late for E.J. Tackett, but that's 2 in a row. And Simonson now with a strike in the 7th will trail by 11.
Come on, let's start a little better than this, too.
Anthony threw 2 300 games throwing backup balls in December in Korea at the Domino's Pizza Storm Cup. E.J. Tackett finished 2nd in that event. Say I've seen it all.
Don't say that, because more is to come.
In between 2nd and 3rd arrow on the left, out to about 2nd arrow down lane for Anthony Simonson. And then look how his hand finishes like a regular right-handed delivery. It's amazing. I saw another guy do this, just kind of clips, bits and pieces. You might have heard of him. Jason Belmonte.
Well, the gauntlet's been handed down, right, from Anthony. Hey, Belmo, what do you got? You got this in your bag?
Speaking of Jason Belmonte, remember he and Simonson met in the title match of last month's PBA Players Championship. Simonson was the number 2 seed. He was out there trying to deny Belmo that record 11th major championship. And he succeeded. A brutal 7-10 split in the 10th, put Belmo down for the count. Simonson would finish him off 232-212.
Yeah, baby! Let's go! Give me one! Let me get one!
That win was Simonson's second major PBA title. We saw him just last week, remember, finish second to Norm Duke at the Go Bowling PBA Jonesboro Open. This 22-year-old already having a wonderful 2019.
Come on, bro!
And a big strike there.
Come on. That was me. No, that was me.
Second double. He's got a good little cheering crowd on hand. He lives in Little Elm, Texas, about 40 minutes north of the facility here. He's up to 183. Tackett's response in the 8th.
Pretty good response.
Pretty good response. Flow Bowling is the exclusive home of PBA's Extra Frame. Features live streaming of all Go Bowling PBA Tour and PBA 50 Tour events. Coming up on Flow Bowling, live daily coverage of the PBA's World Series of Bowling beginning this Tuesday, March 12th. Don't miss a minute of the action. All you got to do is click the Flow Bowling link on the PBA.com homepage, and you are subscribed. Just 11 pins separating Tackett and Simonson. Here's EJ in the 9th. Not
Really?
at all what he
How does
wanted.
it go both ways? Gosh, darn it.
Well, I think part of the reason is because that left lane hooks a little bit more.
You've got to be kidding me.
And we see that sharp breaking ball reaction right before it gets to the head pin.
Gosh dang it.
Big opening here for Anthony Simonson.
How many times tonight have we seen EJ have these moments where it's like, look at the numbers. They back me up. This should not be what we're seeing and experiencing. Brave attempt, but in the end, an open frame in the 9th.
How did that overhook like that? Come on.
So 203 for EJ.
A strike here for Simonson. He takes the lead by 10. And more importantly, a strike in the 9th and one in the 10th, and he wins.
Come on, kid, let's go.
It's one of the toughest youngsters you'll ever run into right here.
Coming in the back door.
Can't get all 10 to go.
Yeah,
Not bad. It's all right.
that stinks. That's a terrible break. Spare here, he's 202, one back.
One pin separating the two of them.
If both players strike in the 10th, EJ Tackett wins by a pin. That's a terrible break, but hey, you know, that's the sport. He made a good shot.
They both have dealt with their share of bad breaks.
Absolutely. You know, some days you're the bug, and some days you're the windshield. And
One good one
right now, Anthony Simonson looking for a strike and then some help. But he's got to be thinking, okay, if I don't strike on this ball, I have zero chance.
That's how you finish, kid.
Make him show up.
232, yeah. Make him show up.
Pretty impressive, especially seeing this for the first time on national television. Anthony Simonson, right-handed, throwing it like a left-hander, and now EJ Tackett needs a strike to win by one. Anything less than a strike, Anthony Simonson wins sitting on the bench.
After all he's endured in this championship match, it's Tackett who controls his own destiny, steps up in the 10th, a strike for the win.
Not surprising, former player of the year and runner-up back-to-back years for that honor. A great match came down to the 10th frame. E.J. Tackett
Thank you, guys.
puts a nice
Thank you
touch
so much.
in the 10th and carries all 10.
This is awesome.
He won the opening match by one pin.
A lot to get this. I want to thank Motive, Turbo, Polar X, Genesis, High Five, everybody, Mongoose. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And now he's won the championship match by a solitary pin as well. Here it is, the final shot in the 10th for the win.
One of the best ever at getting the ball out of his hand. You see that release, throwing the ball down into the floor. And Anthony Simonson can only sit and watch.
Well, Anthony did his part in the 10th to make it tight. Here's the winner with Kimberly.
EJ, it all came down to that 10th frame. Walk me through your process when you walked up to the foul line there.
It's plain and simple. You know, you got to knock down 10 or you lose. With the scoring format, you know, you have one chance and one shot. Luckily, I threw a good shot. It didn't go dead flush, but they all fell down. That's the most important part.
What did you think about Anthony throwing the backup ball like that?
He's very unique. He's done it before. He actually won a title last year doing that, and I'm sure something we'll see out of him more, but I don't think there's anybody else on tour that can do it as effective as he can, and it's pretty interesting.
Well, you had a solid game, and you earned this. Congratulations, EJ.
That is a well-deserved bow for E.J. Tackett, electrifying this crowd, and another one-pin victory here in Arlington. As we take a look at our game summary, Randy, brought to you by Strike Track.
E.J. Tackett did what he had to do in the 10th, obviously, by striking. Bad break for Simonson, though, when he got up in the 9th and left that solid 8-pin. But what a performance by Simonson, going with something completely unique and something we've never seen before in that backup ball from the right side. But it was all E.J. Tackett. E.J. surviving two big splits and two open frames.
Yeah, really struggled to get out of the gates, was questioning himself throughout a majority of this. In the end, though, he wins it. Coming up next, the World Series of Bowling. The 10th edition coming your way from Allen Park, Michigan, just outside Detroit, right by the airport. Our next telecast coming your way March 18th. It kicks off 5 straight nights. We'll see it 8 p.m. Eastern. Earlier, it was Liz Johnson chucking one off her bucket list as she took the title. And then E.J. Tackett, all the way up from the 3 spot. Had to go back